everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of What to Think, VentureBeat's tech news podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Tweeney. Today, we'll be talking to Ryan Hoover, co-founder of the startup success story Product Hunt. We're going to talk about how its Reddit for products took off so fast and find out what it's like inside Y Combinator. I'll be joined today by VentureBeat's Kia Kokolicheva here with me in the New Relic studio in San Francisco. Did I say that right, Kia?
Yes, you did.
Not bad for a guy from Ohio. But first, the week's top tech news. Let's talk about Google's Nest getting hacked. Hackers at the Black Hat Security Conference this past week made the words, "Hello, Dave," appear on a Nest thermostat display after they showed how they compromised the device in front of a live audience of hundreds of hackers. This goes back to the theme of what we are sacrificing in the name of convenience, said Danielle Buentello, a student security researcher from the University of Central Florida. Now, Nest is a smart thermostat that uses your home sensors to tell when you're home, and it adjusts the temperature to your liking. It has a silver rim and a black display, and it's kind of round. So Buentello and his team put an image of HAL 9000, the rogue computer from 2001, A Space Odyssey, with its glowing red eye right in the center to show that they could take over the machine. Kind of spooky. In a statement, Nest said, "All hardware devices are susceptible to jailbreaking. This is not a unique problem." And the company pointed out that the hack required physical access to the Nest, so don't panic too much.
Oh my. I mean,
yeah, what do you say?
all hardware devices are susceptible to jailbreaking. Good response.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really have an answer to this problem. Hopefully no cyber criminals will break into your house and install malware on your thermostat.
I mean, they basically just said, whoops, it happens to everyone.
Not the greatest response.
Tough. I mean,
In their defense, it's not that frightening of a hack, so
true.
Not that terrifying. Well, what about Foursquare, Kia?
So Foursquare has been doing a lot of things. Back in May, Foursquare announced a startling new direction, a complicated plan to split itself into two separate services with a namesake app for discovery and then a separate check-in app called Swarm. Great name. The news, of course, sent power users into a panic. But with strong adoption, Swarm rose up to the charts on iOS and Android. Then on Wednesday, Foursquare relaunched its self-titled app with an exclusive focus on restaurants and business discovery. A direct threat to market leader Yelp, and it totally looks like it. 5 days later, users across iOS and Android seemed to endorse the change, according to data from app tracking site App Annie. So the day before Foursquare relaunched, the company ranked at number 1,221 overall amongst iOS apps in the US.
Really low.
That was really bad. That's like not on the chart. The following day, Foursquare jumped to number 457. Not bad. And then as of this weekend, according to App Annie, the Foursquare ranks at 394 amongst all iOS apps in the US. Now, Swarm, on the other hand, so it peaked in late July at an incredibly high number 11, which is pretty insane, in all iOS apps in the US. And then even now, it's still at 210 overall.
Higher than Foursquare.
Yep. You can tell what we care about.
That's funny. I think that they were hoping that they would be the Yelp killer. And in fact, people are just like, oh, I still want this check-in thing over here.
I mean, when I say Foursquare, what do you think?
Check-ins.
There you go.
I want to be the mayor of something.
There you go. We have Yelp. We don't need another one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the sad thing is that Foursquare even has stickers that they're hoping businesses will put in their windows, just like the Yelp stickers.
Oh my.
Yeah,
I mean, so you can check in.
I don't know. Maybe people will, but based on these numbers, it looks kind of like the writings on the wall. People like their check-ins.
Have you seen the stickers? It's a check mark.
Exactly. All right, moving on to Apple news. Last week, VentureBeat got a source that offered independent confirmation of many rumors surrounding the upcoming iPhone 6. As rumored, our source tells us Apple will release two new phones this fall, one with a 4.7-inch screen and another with a large 5.5-inch screen. And reports last week said Apple will announce the new phones at an event on September 9th. However, our source says that the smaller model will be ready to ship in mid-September, shortly after the launch announcement, while the larger model is likely to ship several weeks or even a month later. Now, we've also heard rumors that the new screens will be made of sapphire, which is incredibly hard. Our source says that the screens are made of an extremely hard material that is harder than Gorilla Glass, but not actually as hard as sapphire crystal. And interestingly, that corroborates an earlier video report showing that the iPhone 6 screen is harder than previous models' screens, but actually softer than the crystal. Now, in that video, we don't actually know if that's really an iPhone 6 screen, but, it looks convincing-ish, and it's definitely tougher than Gorilla Glass. Our source confirms that the upcoming iPhones will contain the new A8 chip and will support a faster flavor of Wi-Fi called 802.11ac, and they will also likely support near-field communication, or NFC, a technology for supporting mobile payments that many Android phones have had for years. Now, this may not be the final spec list for the shipping phones, but for now, this is the most complete picture we have yet of the next generation iPhones. Are you going to get one, Kia?
I don't know. I'm really anti-giant phones because they don't fit in my hand.
Well, then you just buy the smaller one.
Well, yeah, but that's still bigger than the current one. What I think I am going to do is just take my dad's 5S and then he can get a new one that's bigger.
Nice. Okay. Thanks, Dad. I don't think I'm going to get one either. I just got a new Nexus 5 switching from a really old iPhone 4S to a Nexus 5, and I'm so much happier.
Dylan, you've gone to the dark side.
No, I don't know. I switch back and forth between iOS and Android all the time. I have no attachment to either platform.
What a good tech editor.
All right, for all this and more tech news, you know where to go. VentureBeat.com, which is where all these stories came from, and dozens more every day. And now a quick thanks to our host and sponsor, New Relic, a software analytics company that makes sense of billions of metrics across millions of web and mobile apps. New Relic helps the people who build modern software understand the stories that their data is trying to tell them. When software breaks, everyone loses. So New Relic helps improve software performance and reliability, delivering a better experience for users and more success for your business. New Relic supports PHP, Python, Ruby, Java, .NET, Node, iOS and Android apps, and who knows, someday maybe they will support Nest apps as well. And now let's bring on our guest, Ryan Hoover. Hey Ryan, how you doing?
Doing excellent. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So I hear you're talking to us from the parking lot outside Y Combinator in Mountain View. Is that correct?
I am. So today is the day where a lot of investors come in and talk with some of the companies. And so there's a lot of activity going on and all of the meeting rooms are taken. So I figured why not just go in the car within Wi-Fi distance to jump on a call with you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for taking the time. I hope that we're not costing you an opportunity to talk to the investor.
Yeah, Ryan, are you billing us right now?
Yeah, I'll send you the bill later, Kia.
So, for starters, tell us what Product Hunt is. Kia wrote about this, so she knows all about Product Hunt. But can explain for the listeners what this site is.
Yeah, so Kia actually has been on it since, well, very, very early. I think your user ID is 76. Is that right, Kia?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, Product Hunt, it's a website. It's a community where people submit links to new products. These could be mobile apps, websites, hardware projects, and so on. And each day, people in the community upvote the best stuff. So they effectively create a curated list of new and interesting products every day. The other really fun part about Product Hunt is, again, it's not just a list of links, but there's a discussion about products. And, the founders themselves are coming into the conversation, answering questions, telling their story, and engaging directly with the community themselves, which is really fun.
So it's really like Reddit, except for products instead of news stories or Hacker News.
Yeah, that's a great extra Y. It's Reddit for products.
Okay. And why did you start this?
It initially began as an email list, so it was very, very simple, honestly. And I like talking about products, and oftentimes my conversations, especially in Silicon Valley, are revolving around products themselves. So people are always asking, what's on your home screen, or did you see that new app? Did you see Kindly, which is on Product Hunt today? Like, what do you think about that? It's kind of interesting. And, I didn't know of a place online to have these type of conversations. And also, where can I find the coolest new things every day? You see parts of that in Reddit and Hacker News and TechCrunch and Twitter and so on, but there was no single destination just for new and interesting products. So, it began with that insider, that desire just to find new interesting things, and created an email list and seeded it with, some friends of mine, and it's gone from there.
How did you get on so early, Kia?
Ryan has a friend named Nathan who has coding chops. And I used to work at the same company as Nathan. And one of my really good friends actually wrote about their project when they launched. So basically, I was right in the thick of it when Product Hunt started. So Nathan put me on, in the user list like day one. I just basically like fell into it and have been watching it since then.
So that's classic Silicon Valley, like friend of a friend launches a product and there you are.
Like
cool.
your best friend has a thing in their garage and then they give it to you and there you go.
Now, have you been using it to find news stories? Is this something that like you're like, oh, this looks cool, we should write about this?
I have emailed like a couple of companies that I found on there that are really interesting. I mean, some of it is really just a person hacking like a really cool thing on their own. So it's not always like a company for me to reach out to, but I have actually reached out to a couple.
Ryan, who would you say is a typical user of Product Hunt?
Yeah, so it does vary, but it's very focused on the startup community right now. So there's anything from reporters to investors to entrepreneurs, designers, engineers, and so on. And that's the core of Product Hunt. But there are also people outside of the startup community that are now starting to get onto it as well. But that hasn't been really the clear focus, at least in the short term.
Okay, I will say it's definitely sort of buzzy around here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley. Is it taking off in terms of the number of users, or is it still pretty small, or where are you at?
Since January 1st, we've been growing at roughly 65% month over month in unique users. So It's actually been a continuous climb, particularly in the past 2 months, though. Mm-hmm. And what's more important than unique users, in my opinion, though, is how much traffic we're sending to these products. Again, these are oftentimes brand new products. Sometimes they're by big companies. Other times they're little projects that Kia mentioned, that are on here. And we're driving 1.6 million visits to these product pages every single month. And that's actually up 40% from the previous 30 days. So it's growing. And as the community grows, it becomes even more influential and impactful for these creators that are featured.
Right. And then obviously that's a pretty virtuous circle, because then people want to get on there, because if they have a product and they want people to see it or come check it out, that's, you have a lot of potential to drive new people to your product, right?
Absolutely. And yesterday is just one example. This wasn't even the top voted product, but it was a mobile app, and they acquired a couple hundred users within a 12-hour period for their product. And for them, that gives them an early user base, but also a seed user base to start getting some validation and some feedback. Right now, it's incredibly difficult to break through the noise and get users, more so than building a product oftentimes. And in some ways, Product Hunt can help with that if you build something that people want.
I mean, there's also that talk that's been happening about how Product Hunt is the new place to launch. It's no longer the tech vlogs or whatever. It's Product Hunt. That's where you make your little coming out, right?
You mentioned virtuous cycle. There's this interesting virtuous cycle as it relates to tech press and Product Hunt and other existing communities like Reddit and Hacker News. And it's funny to see how a product will launch or will get scooped either on Product Hunt or elsewhere, and then it will kind of circulate through the web. Because there are so many reporters using Product Hunt, they're using it to find interesting products to write about. And of course, our visitors and our community is also reading these tech blogs. So when VentureBeat picks up some product, that often comes on Product Hunt too. So it's interesting to see it kind of, I guess, spur through the community and how word of mouth spreads. And it's always really hard, of course, to definitively track, where was the origin source. But I think it's fascinating, and we're seeing more and more products breaking on Product Hunt early on.
So what you're saying is we all just hang out in the same three places.
You know how Silicon Valley is. It's a bubble in many different ways.
It's like VentureBeat, TechCrunch, Product Hunt, and the Blue Bottle, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us some cool products that have been featured there recently, or that have taken off and gotten attention because they were on Product Hunt.
There are many different stories, and actually many of the founders featured on here have written about their experience. Actually, I should start collecting some of these articles, but there are dozens of them. And one that I'm particularly fond of, in part because I'm very fond of the founder himself, he's a great guy, is TapTalk. Kia, you use TapTalk, right? Or am I mistaken?
No, I don't.
Okay. You got to get on TapTalk. It's great.
I know. So many products.
What is TapTalk?
Yeah. So TapTalk is a way to send photo or video messaging to your friends or family very quickly. And at first blush, it might look a little similar to Snapchat in terms of how it's designed. But what they've really done is built a very fast experience to be able to send a photo or a message to a friend. And they've sped up not only the user experience, but just even the speed of sending the photo is magically fast. I don't know what they're doing in the back end. And the reason why I like this story is just that it was on Product Hunt when it launched before traditional press or anywhere else really. And, many investors, as I mentioned, are using Product Hunt, one of them being SV Angel. And SV Angel, Abe, has been an early user as well. And he saw it on Product Hunt, and they, in long story short, invested in TapTalk. And since it was discovered on TapTalk from the investment side and just from the community at large, it's gained a lot of attention in many ways, at least within this community. And, they've, of course, raised money. And there are many different examples of founders being approached by investors when they're featured on Product Hunt.
Oh, that's really cool. And actually, that sounds like an app that I should check out. Because Snapchat drives me nuts. I use it so infrequently, and every time I go in there, I'm like, how do I use this again? And what am I supposed to do next?
I know. It's not as simple as Yo, Dylan, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why I like Yo, because I can't figure out the damn interface. Yo is really easy. Just tap Kia's username, and it sends her a Yo. What else do I need to worry about?
I think TapTalk might be for you, Dylan.
It might. If I can get my family and friends to use it, then all will be well. So how's the YC life? How has it been being a Y Combinator portfolio company?
It's great. I mean, it's an opportunity that you couldn't pass up when they approached me. I actually
you're near the end of the batch, right?
Yes, yeah. We actually have demo day exactly a week from today. Okay. So it's coming up very soon, and actually I'll be in Mountain View pretty much the entire week here. Normally it's just about once a week. And, one of the reasons why I joined YC is the fact that, Alexis is heavily involved and been advising and helping me and thinking through Product Hunt, and his experience at Reddit is very applicable, of course.
Absolutely, I would think.
Yeah, and same thing with Kevin Hale's doing a lot of work on Hacker News right now, and also Daniel, who does moderation for Hacker News. He's been giving me some advice as it relates to moderation and spam protection and everything there. So having two Reddit and Hacker News, which have a lot of similarities to Product Hunt, and all of the challenges they've gone through, YC has been able to help think through that and advise me along the way. So that's one particular example of why YC it makes sense for Product Hunt and where I found value in it.
Community is really hard. Like, companies are pouring money into getting community managers and growing that stuff. It's not an easy task. So I totally get why you're finding such value from having community experts. In case you missed it, Alexis is Alexis Ohanian, co-founder of Reddit. Yeah, and so I totally get that you're getting like gold out of this.
Do you know what you're going to do next? I mean, it's a week from now it'll be all over, right?
Yeah, a week from now I'll just go to Hawaii and relax, and take a break. That's the plan. It's definitely a busy time, but I love work. I love what I'm doing, and I'll always be busy. So, what we are working on, though, right now on my phone is a beta build of our iOS app. And I'll have to send you guys a build tomorrow. I think we should have one ready. But we will have that launching very soon. And I'm very excited to answer everyone's request. The highest requested feature is an iOS app for Product Hunt.
Yeah, because it's addicting, and you have to do it on the go while you're at Phil's drinking your gajillionth cup of the day.
Exactly.
I know.
As Ryan does.
I know. They asked me how much money I spend at Phil's when I was there the other day, and I did the math, and I was slightly embarrassed.
What is it?
It's like $300, $350 a month.
Oh.
Now, granted, I don't have a co-working space, so that's my excuse. It's in place of a co-working space or an office.
That's like your office rent.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're paying
really cheap rent.
Paying for the desk and the Wi-Fi in addition to the really strong coffee.
Dylan, we should just do that at VentureBeat.
Just work from Phil's?
Yeah. Some of us might be as our office gets more and more crowded. Well, congratulations on all the success. It sounds like a really interesting product. I hope that demo day and in the week between now and then goes really well for you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dylan.
If you have funding news to announce in the wake of all of this YC experience, you should check out and get in touch with Kia, because VentureBeat is kind of like a product hunt for funding news.
Yeah. Damn. Can I submit myself, Ryan?
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good X for Y.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll let you go back inside to probably where the air conditioning is now. So thanks for joining us from your car outside the Y Combinator offices in Mountain View.
Thanks. I don't know how you read my mind here, but I'm getting hot. I'm in the sun here in the car, and it's starting to heat up. So I will do that.
Dylan Tweeney is a smart man, so, not very shocking.
I've been there doing interviews in a hot car. So thanks for joining us, Ryan, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Well, that's it for this episode of What to Think. Thanks for joining us for this discussion with Ryan Hoover from Product Hunt. You can check that out at producthunt.com. And as always, come to VentureBeat.com for all the tech news and business news of the week. And thanks again to our host and sponsor, New Relic, from whose studios we are recording. We'll catch you next week.
Have a good one, guys.